I've had so many questions around how students can write the research, and in the context of probably writing a dissertation, we'll talk about some key steps when thinking about writing a research. Choosing a topic is one of the most essential aspects of what you want to start with when you think about writing a research or doing a dissertation. It might sound simple, and I always say to my students in the first place is, why do you want to do research? That's the first question I always ask. But it's typical in many cases is that students are required to do a project or a dissertation as part of completing their academic studies. But for other students, it goes beyond completing or meeting that minimum requirement. So I still ask the students, what is it and why are you writing the research that you're doing? Of what interest is that topic to you? And it's okay if, as a student, all you just want to do is to meet the minimum requirement and pass your dissertation or pass your project and move on with your life and get out of uni. Now, I say you don't want to spend 5, 6 months, 1 year of your time doing a research that wouldn't add value or you have no passion doing. So you always think about it in the first place. Do you have passion in the topic? What does it mean to you? Have you worked in that industry? Are you thinking of working in that industry? Maybe it's a decent research that gets you a merit. But other than that, you spend 7, 8 months doing a research that you possibly don't even care about. Of course, no knowledge is a waste, we're meant to understand, but it's quite important that when you get on to doing a dissertation or doing a research, it actually accounts and amounts to something. So it might be that you can do research that helps you get into that industry that you want. So you have dreams of working within an audit company and you are doing an accounting course. If you decide to do a forensic accounting audit, then you're essentially doing a research that gets you into the door. So if you get on to doing an interview, you can always speak about your research to say, I did a research in this topic, I have sufficient and significant knowledge within this topic, or you intend to get on with doing a PhD. You can start off with a research that you're very passionate about, get it done. In fact, it might just sound like a pilot study when you do it at a lower level and carry that on to doing a PhD. So whenever you think about what topic for research, don't just pick topics that are irrelevant. Don't just pick topics that seem very easy for you to do. Yes, it is a good idea for you to get good grades when you do those dissertations or projects, but it's also important that that research counts for something that you're passionate about, the topic that you're actually doing. My master's research was on entrepreneurial finance. I was always passionate about entrepreneurial finance, about the different financing options that businesses could get access to. So being a topic I was very passionate about, starting from working within the financial sector and then moving on to doing a master's and then getting on to doing a PhD within the same subject area, it was quite important that my topic was something I was passionate about and I understood it. But of course, it would eventually be based on literature to coin that research topic more appropriately, to find the gap and to identify how you can resolve certain issues within the academic and practical aspect of that subject matter. The next thing you need to do is conducting the research itself. There are several aspects and integral parts of conducting the research, and that's not what we fully cover in this video. We talk about the broad sense of doing a research. We'll cover that in a different video. But the step where you conduct the research is that you need to get into, doing the research itself. You need to get into doing, studying quite a lot of literature, identifying what is happening within that subject matter already, thinking about the practical aspects of that research or the subject or the topic, and then doing the research itself to try to address the aim of your research and answer the research questions. Once you've conducted the research, which would include you collecting data, the next thing you need to do, of course, is to organize your thoughts, is to organize your findings and present those findings to your readers or the audience. You're essentially identifying and organizing all of the findings that you've put out or you've identified within your research and making sense out of those findings. And you're making sense out of them by thinking about all of the literature you read previously, what sort of findings they had, how that works or aligns with your own findings, and how it differs and the strengths and weaknesses of the findings that you have and any potential need for additional research. And all of that would be highlighted when as presenting your thoughts and ideas and the findings of your research. The fourth step is basically you doing the writing up. The writing up stage is where you're putting pen to paper. So to say, you're putting your thoughts on paper in a way that the audience can essentially understand what you're writing. Who are you writing that research paper for? What have you identified in your findings? How do they relate? All of that thoughts are then put into paper for clear organization. Remember to cite all your sources appropriately. So, of course, referencing is a key part of any of the projects or dissertations that you have to write. Step 5 is about making the document look good and presentable and ensuring that it meets the academic requirement. And this has to do with editing and proofreading your work. And this applies to any sort of academic or written work you have to do. You have to always edit it. You have to always proofread and ensure the formatting is accurate, is appropriate, and in line with the requirements of whatever project, essay, report, or dissertation that you have to do, and as required by your institution or the tutor. So that's a broad overview, 5 broad overview steps on how to engage in your research. Pretty basic, but we will cover the nitty-gritty parts of what a research and how to conduct the research in individual scopes and in the individual research. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and continue to show up.